how we do all this and how we get to writing, to drawings that make sense in some way. And you probably noticed different styles and different handwritings and different techniques. And this session is to give a very short introduction. The world of drawing, sketching, doodling, whatever else is so huge. You can spend so much time on this and it's so much fun. And be aware that if you join here, you might get obsessed with it. So, and you've probably wondered, to a really practical thing, what all these markers are. And one first thing, we covered the table with paper, and you can just sketch and doodle while I will explain some core elements of visual facilitation and working with graphics and harvesting processes. And just think visually. It does not have to look pretty. It's just getting out your thoughts you have in your mind through your hands on the paper, and then something physical. So you don't have to have it in the brain anymore, and you make space. So I encourage you, if you have some black markers, use them as outliners and color with color. That's just as a first insight. And these black ones are outliners. I did get more black ones, but I'll start with teaching in a second. So maybe we can collect more black markers if you have some somewhere.
All right.
Where everyone just picks one, and then we see how many we are missing.
Take one from here.
No, these are not. He doesn't have a marker? Everyone? Okay. And as well, you can just share that. These are colors. And there are different kinds of colors. These are the gray ones. I have a brush tip, and the black ones have a badge tip, so I can write better. Okay. And I will have 5 very short lessons. If I rush, please tell me. But I try to put a little overview in this expedition. And the first one is text and container. And looks like that. Or can I have someone holding this? And I'll ask different people. Half of it is actually taking your time to write slowly and practicing your style of writing, and a style of writing that you can actually read, and just take time. And choose the right pen. So if you're writing small, choose a smaller pen. If you're writing big, choose a bigger pen. And if you have text, first write something in the middle and then box it. And these boxes in visualization are called containers. I can hold it there. Are called containers. And you can do different containers and close them that they're not open. Can be a box, and just practice that you do that quickly. You connect them. You can do speech bubble or cloud. It can be anything you can come up. Everything I show is just suggestions, so it's not something you always have to do. I'll put it in. So, that's about containers. So you can look at this later. I'll hang it as well. With text, to keep it very simple, there are 3 lines, and there's a whole science around this, calligraphy and all that. But you want your letters the small letters all be in the same height somehow, that is readable. And you want to have a similar or same spacing in between the letters. And over a sentence you write, you want to keep consistency, so that you just stay consistent in your handwriting style. And then you can combine different kind of writing styles. So maybe you can write capitalized and small, or with your normal handwriting, and combine that to show contrast. So have here title, title, title. You can all write it different, and that combination of like small fine liners and bigger headers is good for the eye. So yeah, maybe someone can put these up, take on the window. And I think I'll run through this, and then we'll have a round of questions. To add on to this, I'll use that first. Write in clusters. So as sketch noters, you want to have little chunks of text. You can have a letter or something in arch that is an overarching theme you write, but it's good to just write in chunks and then connect them afterwards and box them. Always put them in a container. And as well in graphic recording, so in live visualization, and if we want to make sense to someone with your drawing, it's what I think always about the combination of image and words, symbol and words. Because if you draw, for example, a light bulb, it can mean idea, innovation, electricity. It can mean a lot of different things. So to make meaning, add a word to your symbol. And this we'll talk about later a little more. Be strategic about what you do. So use different forms of layout. There's that standard graph kind of grid layout, so just divide your paper in 4 sections. There's a process, a linear process, if you want to show something, 1, 2, 3 steps, for example. And there's that kind of brainstorm layout with something in the middle, maybe a title, a header in the middle, and other stuff around. And once you have all these chunks or these clusters, make sense and connect them with arrows or connect them with symbols. Thanks. I will put some fine liners here too. They're mine, I really love them, so please be, don't press too hard on them. Okay, this is really a run. Coloring. So, get some color in. How do I do that? I think personally it's very important that you don't overdo coloring. Because you cannot read a poster that has 20 colors in it. So my rule that I say, maximum 3 colors and gray. And just not color everything, try to use colors in a strategic way so that you highlight something that you want to emphasize even more. So a couple of ways of coloring, just like a speech bubble for example, and its content is to highlight, just to highlight as you highlight a text. You can color the whole thing, or you can shade it underneath it. So that's just 3 ways I use it in everyday practice. And it makes really a difference sometimes how you color things. And you can talk, as I saw earlier, in open space, you can talk for hours over shading. But I normally just do a little drop shadow and just do a little L, flip over on your box, and I always do it on the right and bottom side, just a little drop shadow. It really brings forward your containers. And gray, I love gray because gray does fit with basically every color. And you can have here different tones of gray. So this is very dark one, very light one. You can play with that. And yeah, just use coloring in a meaningful way. Next. Use basic shapes. Visual language is made out of basic shapes. And to make sense, it is very important that your symbols and your drawing is visible in some way, and you want to use a simple language that is pleasant in a way. And the way you do that, you combined very easy shapes. So you can look at anything in your real life and just say what basic shapes are in there, and then you deconstruct the object and you draw it very simple. And it's really, in longer workshop, I have people drawing lines, just lines, half an hour of drawing lines, half an hour of drawing squares, rectangles, and circles. And circles is a cool thing to practice, to have like just a circle in your wrist. And yeah, stay simple and make sense out of basic shapes. Could ask you, and Max can keep drawing. Okay, last but not least, and there's so much more I could tell you, but we'll stay with this for a moment. A lot of this, why it is so successful, the drawings, because it brings up emotion. Because people relate to the symbols, to the figures they see. And that's why it's very cool to add figures and real humans in a very simple way. And there's so many ways to build up your own figure, and I really encourage you to use your own, or develop that one that is yours, and give some character. And I have a whole book just about figures. So I will show you 3 ways that people have used here in this context. So a very simple first one is just U, O, and I. And just flip the U over, put the O on the top and put 2I as arms. And yeah, just make sure that L ends are connected, and you can draw some hands if you wanted to, or add some hair or a head. You just have a line that has like a cap on. And another one, which I personally like, is that one, but with a rectangular here. So I draw, I do draw the shoulder line first, and I draw the body, and then I draw the hands, like that. Because if you can vary with the shoulder line, if you do like that, unless you're really a sad kind of guy, if your nose is looking down there, because in drawing you always look at the hip line and the shoulder line, and in that way you can vary a lot. You can't vary that too much with the U. But with the U, which I use so much, is to draw groups. And this is a very easy thing to do. It's just to do that, for example. And then you just add the heads, and you add the arms for the whole group. It's just a very simple thing to do. You just draw groups very quickly.
So if you say when you're doing one person, to avoid that situation, you want to do the body first or the head first, did you say?
I do the body first,
Body
and then the
first,
head,
and then the head.
and then arms and then legs.
Yeah.
And then Viola's pictures, she does just one leg,
Yeah.
and she adds just 2 O's, like that. That's really simple and yet meaningful ways. And you can do like long arms and long legs. It's cool looking.
And you start with the leg?
You start with the body, the head, and then you can decide either leg or arms, depending on your context. Okay. And you see that a lot of times, if you have all these containers in your sketch now, put another big container around it, and you have, through that you can make sense as well, to sort out stuff, to just box around it somehow to make a frame, to maybe make it more meaningful.